Wouldn't it be awesome if you were the most memorable person to somebody else at the end of the day? Like when they went to bed at night, they were like, oh my gosh, that person was so cool. They were so nice to me. They listened to me. They took extra time to get to know me. They smiled at me, whatever it might be. It could be anything. Maybe you took a little bit of time with the barista when you were ordering your coffee in the morning. Or maybe you checked in with somebody that you're working with and just asked a couple extra questions. It doesn't take much to be somebody that's memorable at the end of the day. Vanessa Van Edwards actually has a phrase to say, be the most memorable person in the room, like when you're networking. You can be the most memorable person to somebody else or maybe many others at the end of the day. How do you do that though? And there's a couple things to be aware of so that you can do this within your own personality and just being you. Number one is take care of yourself. It takes energy to connect with people, which means that you're going to want to eat right, you're going to want to sleep, you're going to want to move around and exercise, get the blood flowing. When the blood flows to the brain, we can actually communicate more clearly and we have the energy to engage with others. So take care of you first so that you have the energy, because it takes energy to connect with people. You have more energy to actually do that. Number two, if you're somebody that likes to flit about and talk to everybody, maybe set a goal to say, I'm going to go deeper with one person today. I'm going to spend a little bit more time with one person if there's that connection. Or if you're somebody who prefers not to talk to people throughout the day, maybe just think, you know what, I want to engage with one person today. I want to have that one conversation today. What I'm saying is have some small goals about connecting with other people. They don't have to be big, just tiny little attainable goals. So if you are going to a networking event and you don't like networking events, say I'm going to have a meaningful conversation with one person. That's all. You don't have to talk to everybody in the room. If you are somebody who likes to talk to everybody in the room, maybe you say, I'm going to go deeper with like 3 people. I'm going to spend a little extra time with some people in the room. I'm going to listen to them more than I'm going to talk. Just set up these little tiny goals. So take care of yourself, set up some goals. So the next thing you can do is spot opportunities. If you're at work and somebody's staring at their computer and they have their headphones in, maybe not a good time to start a conversation. But if you have somebody who's kind of more laid back and you can tell that they're a little bit more in a conversational mode, they're sort of giving off that energy, or they might be in the break room or something like that, it's a great opportunity to have a conversation. Or if you are at a networking event or you're at a party or something, here's a couple tricks. One, look for other people who are also like not with anybody else. But also look for people that might have a little bit more of an opening in their communication. Their feet are maybe pointed outward. They're not directly toward each other. And those feet pointing outward kind of creates a little bit of oh, I can come into this space. It looks like they're a little bit welcoming into this space. And it could be 5 people or just 2 people. The other trick is to kind of hang out by where the drinks and the food are, because that's where people go and they kind of congregate, but they may not be established in a conversation yet because you're kind of passing through. But if you kind of hang out there a little bit or go get some food yourself, one, it gives you something to do, and then you can also start to strike up a conversation. So look for those little openings throughout the day where you might be able to have space to have a bit of a conversation and become memorable. And then, how do you start? How do you start a conversation? I will be the first to admit, I'm a communication expert. I go around the world speaking and I have social anxiety. It terrifies me to talk to somebody that I don't know. Once I get to know you, I'm okay. If there's a setting where it's like you're supposed to get into a small group and share things about each other, it's okay because it's directed. But to just strike up a conversation for me is honestly terrifying. But there are ways to do it. Here's how you don't want to start a conversation. So where do you work? Do you have any kids? Like they're fine, but it's what everybody does, which means everybody has the same conversations with everybody else. If you're going to be memorable, you want to be different. So you want to start with something a little bit different. You want to ask a different question. Have you been to this event before? Have you checked out the vegetable spread? Pretty unique, right? You want to be able to get people engaged in a little bit more of a creative start to a conversation. Here's one of the questions that I ask people when I first start to get to know them is, what wakes you up in the morning? What inspires you in the morning to get out of bed? Let's say you had all the time and money in the world, what would you do? What would motivate you to get up and get on with your day? Because now you're finding something that ignites them and excites them. If you say, what do you do for work, and they hate their job, guess what you're going to do? You're going to listen to them complain about their job. And that's okay, but maybe they probably don't want to talk about a job they don't like either. So get them to talk about something that they enjoy, that they're inspired by. That elevates the conversation, it elevates the energy, you can find connection points, and then you can have a very lovely, energetic conversation. And then what you can do is, how do you wrap up that conversation? Oh, you like kayaking? Yeah, okay, me too. And you end up talking about kayaking, and then you talk about work. It's okay to eventually talk about things like work, and maybe you're talking about future plans, or where you want to live, or the food at the buffet, or whatever it might be. One way to end the conversation is to say, hey, I hope you get to go kayaking again soon. It was a really cool story you shared earlier. Thank you, it was really nice to meet you. You kind of put a little bow, a little bit of circle on the conversation. If you circle back to the first thing you talked about, that kind of shows the other person that the conversation is done. Have you ever been in a conversation with somebody and then it's over for you, but it's not over for them, but you want to figure out how to end it? Or it's over for you and it's over for them and you both know it, but you don't know how to stop the train, so you just kind of keep talking? So these are some ways that you can sort of end that conversation. The other way to do it is if you're like, oh my gosh, you really like kayaking, I've got a friend over here that also kayaks, let me introduce you. And now you can kind of exit out of the conversation a little bit. It's also okay to say, man, this is really great talking to you. I've got a phone call, I've got a meeting I got to get to, or hey, I made it a goal to talk to 3 new people today and you're one of them. I'm really glad I did, but I still got my goal to attain. Like, it's okay to kind of politely just end those conversations so you don't have that awkward like dripping that keeps going. When you're in that conversation, how do you become memorable? Ask curious questions. It's the easiest thing to do. When they say something that ignites your curiosity, ask them. Here's the trick. Ask them questions, and as the conversation continues, circle back to something they said earlier and ask them, hey, back when you were talking about how you met your partner, you mentioned a restaurant. What was that restaurant again? What that does is it shows that not only are you asking curious questions to stay present and do the polite thing, but you've been listening the entire time. Oh, this person remembers everything I said. They're still curious about what we talked about 5 minutes ago. I like this person. Why? Because they're listening. I feel seen and I feel heard with this person. So ask powerful questions and be curious. When you do these things and ask curious questions, and just be aware of what's going on around you. When you go to sleep at night, you will be thinking of other people that made an impact on your life, but guess what? They're going to be thinking about you, and they're going to say, I'm really glad I connected with that person. End of the day for others to say, I'm really glad I connected with that person.
Do the last sentence again.
Blah, 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 blah. So at the end, let me go back. So if you're at work and you're talking to somebody, let's try it again. One of the things that you can do is spot a thing. So the next thing you can do is spot opportunities. And it doesn't have to be like a romantic thing. You can cut that out. Let me just start again. Wouldn't it be nice if you were the most memorable person to somebody else at the end of the day?